Hello, my name is Jimmy, and this is the 2022 Kia K5 GT, which means it can get with traffic pretty quickly. Sometimes. It struggles for traction just a little bit. As you saw there, I really wasn't moving, and I'm in normal mode with traction control on and everything. It just, well, it struggles. I mean, right now it's fall-ish winter time. It's beginning of November, and yeah, temperatures are down. It's currently a quite breezy 8 degrees Celsius, and these all-season tires, they can do what they can, but they're certainly limited in terms of just how much claw that they can pull on the tarmac itself. So what is a K5 GT? So the K5 is Kia's family sedan. It's like their full or mid-size family sedan. I guess it's not a full size, it's not that big. It's their mid-size sedan. It's to compete with like the Accord, Camry, as well as the Hyundai Sonata. It's a pretty good car, and I reviewed one with the base 1.6 liter up here, and you can check that out. I love the 1.6. It was decent. It had enough grunt, and it was good enough for everyday needs. And I love the fact that it had all-wheel drive, which just made it more sensible, at least here in Vancouver, where it rains and snows from time to time. So it's a good car. But the K5 GT, it takes just another step above that. The K5 GT has a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder under the hood. It makes 290 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, which translates to 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. But that is only if you can get traction, because unlike the regular K5 where you can get all-wheel drive, well, the GT, it's only front-wheel drive. The motor is connected through an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic only to the front wheels, and it doesn't have a limited slip diff, which means that power is kind of distributed unevenly to both of those front wheels. And you definitely feel that within the wheel. It struggles for traction, and when it does pick up traction, it kind of jerks the wheel from left to right whenever it spots that, well, little bit more traction area. The K5 is a very elegant machine. I love the way it looks. I love the front end, the chiseled front end, the tiger nose grille, the heartbeat headlamps. It's all beautiful up here. With the GT, I also get LED fog lights, which the entire rest of the lineup, I don't get fog lights. But hey, they look great. On the side, 19-inch wheels to finish that overall sportier flair that the GT gets ya. I really love the overall design on the chrome strip that's on the top. It loops around to the back, onto the back window. And speaking of the back, I really like these taillights as well. The overall design of the K5, it's absolutely stunning. If we take a look inside the trunk, we get 16 cubic feet of space, which is plenty. It's actually quite large in here. You can stand behind the vehicle and the trunk automatically opens in about 3 or so seconds. It's a pretty good system overall. You can fold down the rear seat 60/40, and speaking of the rear seats, plenty roomy. Me, a 5'11", I'm able to fit in here with no problems. And the GT version, you also get ventilation ports along with USB ports, something the GT N line didn't get. Well, it didn't get the ventilation, it still had USB. But the seats back there, they're also heated. So it's everything you really need in the back seat. If you're interested, I have a separate video that's linked up here where I put child seats, a Kleck Lang infant seat, as well as a Kleck 5, a convertible, just to see how much room there is inside this vehicle if you are going to be using it for a family vehicle. In terms of the front seats, pretty solid. They're actually quite bucketed for, this type of family sedan. I don't mind them at all. And getting in and out isn't too difficult. So it strikes that really good balance. On this model here, because in Canada, it's very similar to the GT1 package that you can get in the US. They're heated as well as cooled, which is certainly nice because the Sonata, well, you couldn't get that with ventilated seats, which, well, when I had that in the summer, yeah, it definitely was a feature I really would have enjoyed. In front of me, pretty typical Kia steering wheel, nothing too crazy about it. Flat bottom with the GT emblem on the bottom, it looks good. Behind that though is a full digital cluster. The regular K5 as well as the K5 GT in the US gets the standard cluster. There's nothing wrong with the standard cluster, but a full digital one just looks better. You can switch your display themes with the drive mode, so there's a few different ones there, but there's also one hidden one that you can find within the infotainment. And I like that the most. It just looks, well, cooler to me. It's a very minimalistic view. It only shows you speed and RPM, and that's really it. But other than that, what else do you really need? Above, I do have a heads-up display, shows me speed and some other information. It gives me what I need, nothing really additional. And then the infotainment. Infotainment works well here. Don't really have any complaints other than the fact that there is no wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. You do have to plug it in to the USB port in the center. Any Hyundai as well as Kia product, especially if this has the wider screen, you will have to plug it in. If you're in the US with the regular K5 GT, you actually get the smaller infotainment screen, and then you get wireless CarPlay as well as Android Auto in that. Sad that we just don't get it here. But the system itself, it works well. There's Sound of Nature, there's a dedicated button for my Apple CarPlay, there's dedicated volume knob as well. And speaking of dedicated knobs, climate control, love it. It's so easy and straightforward to use. Press the auto, and that's really all you need. Everything else is a physical tactile button, along with a physical shifter. This is like a full T shifter. There's no like rotary knob or anything like that. It just works well. Cup holders, of course, heated and ventilated seat controls below that. I mean, the overall of the cabin, it's just very functional. Anyone can jump in here and use this car. You're not gonna have any problems, trying to find something. It's super easy. The materials, well, the upper door cards are quite soft, and you get soft touch materials kind of all over. Lower down, you do get some harder plastics, like right here. Yeah, it doesn't sound great down here, but I think, for the price for what this is, that's completely fine. But let's get back out on the road because it's a GT. You need to drive it a little bit more to enjoy this vehicle. As said, underneath the hood is a 2.5 4-cylinder. It works quite well. The 8-speed that's on it, that I actually like quite a bit more. This dual clutch is smooth and it has auto blip downshifts. So when I go down a gear, it's less jerky and just more instantaneous. The biggest problem with this entire powertrain, like I said previously, is its traction. Whenever you want to just give it a little bit more throttle, well, you can't. You're giving it all the throttle because you kind of want to. It has that much power. But when you do, well, you're limited. That was a rolling second to third gear burnout because it just doesn't have enough traction. The biggest thing that this thing needs is all-wheel drive, and I said that when I was driving the Sonata. It's a very, very good car. The traction is limited, but the suspension, it's good. Yes, it's firmer than the standard K5, but it's not too jarring. You're not sitting in here thinking that it's a race car. It feels completely adequate for what this vehicle is. Brakes are decent. I mean, not taking it hot lapping, I don't know what it's going to feel like after, repeated sessions. But for this, everyday driving, it's fine. But like I said, it's just so traction limited, and it's just so depressing because when I floor it, the gauge tell me I get full turbo boost, I get all the torque, but I can't apply it to the ground. It's the only thing. It's literally the only thing. Of course, it's still a Kia after all, and like a lot of Kias, they give you all the safety features that you need. So radar guided cruise control, lane keep assist, all that is standard. So there's that. You also get a really good highway driving assist. So when you're on the highway, it's just able to follow the vehicle in front. It keeps you within your lane. It's a pretty good system. Here in Canada, the K5 GT doesn't get the surround view camera. So you don't get 360 camera, which means I also don't get that excellent imaging system. So basically you're able to see who's in your blind spot when you use your signals. I don't get that here. And that's something I do miss because it's a really good feature on a lot of Hyundai and Kia products, but I just don't get that. However, if you are in the US, you do, with the GT1 package anyways. It's super weird how they have certain features available in the US and not available in Canada and vice versa. But hey, it is what it is. I'm sure they've done marketing and they found that, I guess, Canadians don't need a 360 camera. I don't know. Actually, Mazda did that too for the CX-30. Anyways, let's go over the entire vehicle. Full overview. Overall, the K5 is quite the vehicle, but who's it really for? On paper, with 290 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, it certainly is quick. There's no doubt about that. But like I said, it's so traction limited, it just makes the Stinger a much more compelling vehicle. And if we take a look at the price point, well, the K5 GT here in Canada is $40,495. That's actually a little bit more than the Sonata. In the US though, without that GT1 package, it's $31,090, which means it's actually a little bit less than the Sonata. Here in Canada, the Stinger is just over $50,000, so it's like 10 grand more than the K5. So yeah, it's definitely quite a bit more, but here in Canada, you can only get the Stinger with the V6. In the US, you can get it with that 4-cylinder, the same exact 4-cylinder, a really potent powertrain. So, I mean, if you're spending this much, a little bit more to get the Stinger, at least if you can in the US, it makes a little bit more sense than getting the K5. I mean, the Stinger has much more traction because it's, power sent to all 4 wheels, not just the front. But I do have to say, the styling on the K5, I mean, I love the Stinger. It looks really, really good. But the styling on this, there's just bits about it that I really enjoy as well. That tiger nose grille on the front, those heartbeat headlamps. Yeah, it definitely is a looker. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. K5, Sonata, or Stinger? It's a pretty close match, I think, but if it's my money, maybe pick up a used Stinger. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.